We are in the middle of the decade, it's 2025, and honestly, it's been a strong year for cinema, especially for horror and original storytelling. Warner Bros. Is having a solid run, and horror fans are truly eating well. Films like Companion, Final Destination, Bloodlines, Sinners, Together, and now Weapons have made this a standout year for the genre. It's refreshing to see original horror being taken seriously again. Zack Cregger, who directed Barbarian, returns with Weapons, and he brings along his signature airy storytelling and layered themes. I still remember watching Barbarian. It had such a unique structure and tone, and it quickly became one of my favorite horror films of that year. Naturally, I went into Weapons with high expectations, and to be honest, for the most part, the film lives up to them. It's gripping, tense, and unique until it stumbles in the third act. But even with its flaws, I'd still call it a worthwhile theatrical experience. Let's start with the concept. Like Barbarian, Weapons isn't just about surface level scares. It carries a deeper, darker message. It's not hard to see that the film is a metaphor, an allegory for school shootings and psychological scars they leave behind. The themes are chilling, uncomfortable, and timely, and I respect the film for daring to explore them even if it doesn't stick the landing. The film opens with one of the most unsettling hooks I've seen in recent horror. A narration tells us that 17 kids from the same class walked out of their homes at exactly 2:17 am and were never seen again. No sign of struggle, no forced entries, just CCTV footage showing each kid voluntarily stepping into the dark. That setup alone get me hooked. Immediately, questions start forming. Why did they all leave at the same time? What compelled them to go? Where did they go? And why is there no trace of them? It's airy, it's tense, and it sets the tone for what seems like a layered mystery. Only two people from that class remain, Alex, a student, and Justine, the class teacher. That's when I started connecting the dots. Could be the 217 be symbolic? Maybe the number 2 represents Alex and Justine, and 17 stands for the missing students, or perhaps it's a hidden reference to The Shining, where room 217 is where one of the most disturbing scenes takes place. It's not confirmed, but I love that the film invites such speculation. It's the kind of a movie that has you thinking even long after it ends. The structure of Weapons is bold. The narrative unfolds across 6 different perspectives or chapters, and each one overlaps with the others. As we move through these perspectives, we start seeing the same events from different angles. It reminded me a bit of Rashomon in that sense, but updated for modern horror. Every time the story shifted, it felt like a new layer was being peeled back. I've genuinely never seen anything like this in a horror recently. It's that unique. We start with Justine's perspective, and it's immediately tragic. She's being blamed by the community for the disappearance of her students, and even though we can tell she deeply cares about the kids, people see her as responsible. I actually felt a lot of sympathy for her. She's portrayed as a genuinely good teacher, someone who's doing her best, but because of the tragedy, the town turns against her. That emotional weight hit hard. Then we meet Josh Brolin's character, a father desperate to find his missing child. He's raw, angry, and relentless. At one point, he spray paints a single word on Justine's scar. It seems like a moment of rage, but if you look closely, that word acts as a subtle clue, a kind of foreshadowing. It's not a word people use much anymore, and that made it stand out. In fact, I figured out the twist because of it. That kind of gave the ending away for me, which was a bit disappointing. Still, it was clever from the storytelling point of view. There's also a cop character I liked, a man plagued by fear of disease and needles. Sounds odd, but it was surprisingly relatable. He's constantly anxious, overwhelmed, and battling his own issues. None of the characters in this film are traditionally good. They are all flawed. Every single one of them has something morally grey or shady about them, and that's one of the film's strongest elements. It doesn't give you heroes, it gives you people. Speaking of realism, the portrayal of law enforcement in this movie is brutally honest. The cops are ineffective. all the major breakthroughs come through Bloodlines' character. The footage clearly shows all 17 kids walking in the same direction, something the police should have investigated more aggressively, but they don't. That inaction reflects the real-world failures of law enforcement in tragic cases. And I think the film is making a direct comment on that. It's frustrating but intentional. Now let's talk about the violence. I wasn't expecting weapons to be this brutal. The film doesn't hold back. Heads get smashed into pulp and some scenes are genuinely hard to watch. The final act especially reminded me of the infamous climax of Perfume, the story of a murderer. That level of intensity, but here it felt more stylized and less emotionally grounded. That's actually where the film began to lose me. The tonal shifts are jarring. You are watching a deeply serious emotional story and then suddenly the film becomes goofy. There are scenes that feel like they belong in a horror comedy. 1 minute you are biting your nails and the next you are almost laughing. That mix didn't work for me. Horror needs tension and Weapons builds that tension beautifully, only to undercut it with humor or silliness. It's like the film couldn't decide what it wanted to be, profound, disturbing or entertaining, and in trying to be all three, it ends up undermining itself. The climax also felt familiar. Without spoiling too much, the final reveal reminded me of a popular Hindi horror movie from last year, and I couldn't help but feel a little underwhelmed. There is also a character design in the final act that seems inspired by long legs, but instead of scaring me, it pulled me out of the film. It felt more like a gimmick than a genuine horror moment. Still, I want to give credit where it's due. The performances are fantastic across the board. The screenplay is bold and unpredictable. The tension is real and most importantly, it's an original film. In today's world of endless remakes and sequels, that matters. Weapons tries something different. It doesn't always succeed, but it dares to take risks, and that deserves appreciation. So yeah, Weapon is a good film. Not a great one, but definitely one that sticks with you. I enjoyed most of it, but the ending didn't land for me. That tonal inconsistency and weak final twist brought it down a notch. But overall, it's a memorable experience, especially in a packed theater where you can feel the collective tension in the room. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you liked the review, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more such content. Take care and I'll see you in the next one.